Hi Val, good afternoon. Um, so I'm gonna do part A, so the rankings on the approaches that we did at Mediba. Uh, what I did is I ranked mine from developmental as number 1, arts transpersonal for number 2, performance for number 3, cognitive for number 4, human, oh sorry, social for number 5, human for number 6, and number 7 was mastery. I chose it in that order because I feel like for the way that I learn, those are the best steps for me to take. Um, so developmental, I have my own learning style. Who doesn't? Everybody has their own learning style. Um, I chose that because sometimes the way that I think it, after Jared's class, we did this piece on different learning styles, and I did it on grasshopper method. So that really stood out to me. So that's how I think that I learned the best is grasshopper styles. I learned from, oh, something's gonna happen here, and oh, I get to learn about that. And I'll be doing a hike, and I'll look at something, not understand it, and then go and ask the instructor, and they'll be able to tell me. So I feel like that's like a popcorn style almost learning for me. Then it goes into arts and performance. So arts and performance to me, they're like together. So it's almost like an improv. I it's like, yeah, improv to me. That's how I think of it. It's like learning those kind of skills. Also, I feel like arts, when I do a project or I'm studying for something, I usually tend to, when I'm studying, do my paragraphs in like different colors, write them in like a blue paragraph, and then another one is green or another one is red. And then when it comes to my testing, I can like sit there and close my eyes and visualize this piece of paper with all of that stuff on it, so I can like remember. Or like listening to music while I'm studying or doing homework, I can like remember certain parts of like something would happen during a song where I'm like writing and it just like pops and it clicks together. And sometimes I never forget it, and I always will remember it, and it's awesome. So those are my rankings. That's how I thought that it went down. And of course I picked mastery as my last one because it is horrible in my opinion. I actually had extremely bad experiences with them for elementary school and high school. So definitions. I found that Mark Lund had a really good insight on outdoor adventure education. He took Kurt Hahn's perspective and he turned it into his own kind of theory, which I thought was really, really interesting. He took outdoor education, and he actually broke that down into 2 subcategories. So one of them is environmental and the other one is adventure based. So I'm just going to read you what he says for all of them, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what another person, McKinley, says about experiential education and how I think they tie together, and I'll let you know what one I connect with more. So, September 1994, Mark Lund. Outdoor education is an experiential method of learning with the use of all senses. It takes place primarily, but not exclusively, through exposure to the natural environment in outdoor education. The emphasis for the subject of learning is placed on relationships concerning people and natural resources. So the first subcategory would be environmental education. The 2 relationships within environmental education is ecosystemic. So it refers to the independence of living organisms in an ecological microclimate, as well as ecstatic. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but it's spelled Ekistic. That relations refer to interactions between the human society and natural resources of an environment. The second subcategory for that is adventure education. So it also has 2 relationships within it. They are intrapersonal and interpersonal. So intra, obviously, self-awareness, self-concept, confidence, spirituality, I can't pronounce that properly. All of that, and then interpersonal is how you get along with others and how you work with others. Then you have McKinley, and in 1998, his definition for experiential education is learning activities outside the traditional classroom environment with objectives which are planned and articulated prior to the experience. So the definition that really got to me more was actually just the original one, outdoor education. And it explains within the outdoor education what experiential education is. It's a method of learning on the spot in that environment. So like I said, not in a classroom environment where you read about it and you can look at the pictures, but to be actually in that environment, to hold a flower in your hand and examine it, maybe rip off the petals, examine the inside of the bud, understand it fully. And I feel like when you use your senses, when you smell it, touch it, feel, like, you're actually gonna remember it. You're actually gonna like learn about it. That's the experiential method. That's the experiential part. So the outdoor adventure education. I compat with it quite well. I really like it. It explains it all. That's just the way I think of it. Like, when you say outdoor education, when I think of outdoor education, I'm thinking of all three of what I was just saying, is the adventure and environmental. So taking environmental in, where it's the human society with the environmental resources. So like sticks and stones, they're taking primitive skills, teaching it to us, and then we can go out and harvest maybe some milkweed, dogweed, and make cordage. And that's a natural resource. We just made our own rope. Like, that one for me, I only did it like a couple times last year, and then this year for our program to teach to high school kids, I was doing it again, and it was like I hadn't stopped for the year, but I did. It's just something that it like really clicked with me, that, oh, I'm doing this in a certain way, and I'm making something. So it was the experience for me to remember it, and how to do it, to remember it, just blows my mind too. Now, you said to explain, or in part C, you said we did not have to do part C, but I think I want to try and do it. It says explain how your dominant curriculum orientation from part A is related to your preferred definition in part B. And so my definition that I chose was developmental, and then my also other definition that I chose was outdoor education. So I feel like I can relate those two together, because developmental and outdoors, you have to really think of not yourself, but when you're out in the outdoors, it's totally different. Like, by all means, extremely different from than you would be in a classroom, right? And like developing skills, learning how to properly build a fire, learning how to properly build a shelter, taking those steps and progressively getting more and more and more and more better at it. I feel like that's right there, those outdoor experiential and even environment. It's like I can connect them all. It's weird. It's like I cannot choose just between two. I feel like as soon as I start talking about the two that I'm more interested in, I'm automatically talking about environmental and adventure and outdoor and experiential. Like, it's all in one, but they do have their separate categories. But that's what I think. This is my opinion. These are the definitions I found on today, actually, to be honest. November 27th? Yeah, November 27th today I found these definitions. And that's that. I hope it finds it well. Have a good day, Val.